there. All right, Joe. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's good. It's really good. So we have a little different content today, and I'm late as usual. And dog, man, I just don't believe it. Don't believe it. All right. Well, never mind about that. There's so much for the intro music, and I'm not going to sing. So you'll be glad of that. But anyway, so it's December 6th, 2022. This year is almost in the bank. And but there's a lot of cool things going on. So I didn't get a chance to talk to Joe much about what we're doing today, but we're going to do things a little different. And so let's just what do you got going? Talk to me, Joe. Tell me what's going on in your world.
That's it, man. Wanted to say congratulations to my son. He ended up ranked number 2 out of our area. So hundreds of percussionists around the area. He ranked number 2 last night.
Number 2. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's made it. Actually, sorry, to scratch that region. Now he progresses to area, and then if he does well in area, then he goes to state. So I'm really proud of him. Just want to say congratulations.
Yeah, he deserves congratulations. That's awesome. Well, good deal. All right, let's see where I'm going to go with this first. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. So real quick, I'm going to try a realtor video again. I think I've got this one down. It's going to be a little configuring to do. I've got my World Cup slide here, which is going on in the heart of the second round. That's always fun. We're going to do 0 home grants. We're going to talk about how much is your home worth. And I think you're going to like that part, Joe. What does a rate reduction mean for home buyers? We're going to talk about 31 statistics home buyers should know. And I did the math, and we're not going to be able to talk about 31 of them because we don't have that much time. So I refined them, but anybody that wants to get a copy of the 31 statistics home buyers should know should just get in touch with us. That would be good. Interested in tuning up your credit. Now, this is kind of like a precursor to getting pre-approved. A lot of times you want to see what's going on with your credit to see before and what you need to do. So this is one of the things we're going to offer today. And then we're going to do rates are down slightly from last week. Not a lot, but a little bit. So here's the go. The humor is first. That is the video, but I'm going to have to do some finagling here. Let's see if I can do it here. Let's see. And share screen. Share screen. And the screen I want to share. I don't want this to take too long. Let's see. I want this one. You can't see anything there, can you?
Not yet, but I'm anxiously awaiting. This looks like a good one.
Home tab. There we go. This is one you'll appreciate.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Jackie Jock from Pemberton Homes makes real estate look easy. It's all about the details.
Rookie mistake.
She'll go to great lengths.
Pretty athletic.
To take care of your real estate needs. Jackie Chalk from Pemberton Homes. Every day at the office. Contact Jackie Chalk today at jackiechalk.com.
Now, Jackie Chalk is not from Texas, so you can't contact her, but I did think that was pretty funny.
That is pretty good. You know, rookie mistake. It took me about a year or so to realize that you always carry the key around with you. You know what's funny, too, is that she tossed a treat to that dog that was in the commercial.
Yeah.
As a home inspector, I carry dog treats with me, so there's a couple of humor, but it's true.
Well, that's when they're the funniest, is when they're close to the truth. So
Yeah.
I looked at a lot of them. You're not going to believe this, because the humor is from the scale of low to maybe very extra low. But I spend more time trying to get that kind of data than I do anything.
It's the data that matters, man. It's good. That's the good stuff.
So let's get on. We talked about what we were going to talk about. I always love to talk about the zero down home loan. Who qualifies it? It is first timers, first time home buyers, school district employees, medical workers, policemen, firemen, military, public servants. I always like to make sure of this designation, that school district employees is not just teachers. It's administrators, it's bus drivers, it's cafeteria workers, it's superintendents, it's all of the above. So if you ever find somebody that is looking to get in a house cheap, or at least with zero amount of money, and you'll see why later, this particular program is a good one. We always like to give the disclaimer that the interest rates on most, I'd say 97% of the first-time home buyer, where they pay the down payment and or some closing costs, the rates are higher. So just be aware of that. Okay, so has your home appreciated? So we did this. I'm not sure why. Is that the fourth slide? Or yeah. All right, we'll go here. So has your home appreciated? Well, the national average appreciation for U.S. in the last quarter is 3.8% of appreciation. So 3.8 nationally. In Texas, it's 5.19, and there is, this is not good, there is a link there that I'm going to have to give to you in a different format that allows you to click on that link, or actually just enter that link in, but I'm not sure how we're going to do this. Let's see. Or you can call Joe, but Joe would love to do a home evaluation and see what the value is, particularly if you're considering your options on whether you're going to sell or not. So I set up this link, and I'm thinking it's going to, let's just see if we can, yeah, there we go. This is what it is, https://bit.ly, that's bit.ly/3i home value. Okay, so if you are interested in finding out what your house is worth and you're considering selling, this information will come to me. I'm going to forward it to Joe. And excuse me, some of the things that some of these are questions that I've found that people are considering when they're getting ready to sell. You tell me if these are on target or if there's others that I'm missing. Have you accumulated 10 plus years of stuff or / junk? Now, the stuff is the girls' things, the junk if it's the guys' things. But that's what a lot of people think of, particularly if they've been in a house for 10 years or more. Think about it. Are you wondering if you need to paint? Are you considering making repairs but aren't sure which ones to do? Is staging something you should consider? And is a pre-inspection worth the money? Joe, talk to me. What do you think?
Well, let's go down the list. Most people, yeah, they got junk and stuff. Painting depends. Would love to see the property and give you my opinions. Are you considering making repairs but aren't sure which ones to do? You know what? That ties into the last question, which is a pre-inspection, pre-listing inspection. Those go hand in hand, in my opinion, and is staging something that you consider. It depends. I think currently in our market where inventory is a little restricted, it's not necessary, but sometimes it is something that is recommended, and usually staging is about a 0.5% of the sales price is what you can average as far as the cost of it is concerned.
So the way I look at it, if you haven't painted in the last 4 or 5 years, you probably need to paint. There's probably stuff that needs to be painted. The stuff and junk, I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons people don't do it, is they don't want to throw stuff away, but they don't know what to do with the stuff.
Yep.
And it's a real problem, particularly if you're a seasoned individual like myself, you just accumulate stuff, and you go, man, I'm going to use that someday. And well, you
I got a Folgers can full of screws in my garage that have that billboard on it for sure.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, the pre-inspection I think is a key one. On this new house, I was asking Sandy on the home that we're doing down in Pasadena and about staging and the virtual staging. And I have seen some virtual staging that was horrible. I mean, it was it looked like some child had done it.
Oh,
But I've also seen some that looks pretty darn good. And so I think that's one of the things you should definitely consider doing that kind of stuff. But if you are unable, or for some reason the technology part of my application here didn't work, you can always call Joe, and I encourage you to call him because he'll do the analysis of the value of your home for free. Is that correct?
Completely free, no strings attached, no signing up for anything other than just you're curious and the value of your home. I'll provide it to you.
Yep, I thought so. All right, so what does a rate reduction mean to home buyers? So we've been talking over the last couple of weeks, and we still anticipate that rates are going to go down. Now, rates have already come down. As a matter of fact, they were up in the low sevens. We're looking at pricing homes right now in the low sixes. So that's just over the last 2 or 3 weeks that's happened. So what I did is I kind of put together a $300,000 home. And these numbers they're not the perfect numbers. I did this for the savings is going to be enough. But that 1% difference there, here you got a 3.5% or $10,500 down payment. The principal and interest at 7.25 would be $1,974.90. We estimate approximate taxes, approximate insurance, mortgage insurance, and a payment of $2,954.90. So it's interesting, but it's about 1% of the price that you pay for the home. When you do that same math at 6.25, the payment is right at $200. Yeah, right at $200 less. So for every percent, you're going to save about $200. And $200 allows you to qualify for more house. I mean, if you were able to qualify for a $300,000 house before, you'll be able to qualify for probably a $340,000 house now. And to some people, that's going to be important. So as you can see down here, I've got another little URL where you can, if you wanted to get pre-qualified, you just go to https://bit.ly/3i pre-qual, and that will come to me. And at that point, we will get together and get you pre-qualified to see if you qualify for something like that. So let's move on. So 31 real estate stats that you need to know. Well, one of them is that home buyers searched 8 to 10 weeks before going under contract. Now, what's interesting about that is that previously it was 8 weeks. Now it's 10 weeks. So this is an average of what people are shopping. And a lot of people just don't understand that there's some time that you got to kind of get out there and look and see what's out there. And houses will come up on a daily basis while you're shopping. Correct or not correct? Do you think that is that 8 to 10 weeks realistic?
Yeah, I think a lot of times before I even get contact with any clients or potential clients, they're already online looking. And then by the time I get hooked up with them, they've been a couple weeks in there. It takes about a month to find the right one, if the market's right, if not longer. And yeah, so I think on average that sounds about right.
Okay. So the next statistic is in 2022, which isn't quite done yet, home buyers purchased their home at 100% of asking price. So you have to think about that, I mean, before June, it was probably over asking price. I would say, and then the next one down there is 28% purchased for more than asking price. So what I'm guessing is that the last half of the year, more people purchased at, or maybe even below, and but not as many have purchased for more, even though you just sold one for over asking, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Good job on that.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Another thing I didn't know is I knew it was going to be around this time. April is the most competitive month for shopping. More people bring their property out in April, and the homes sell for higher amount during April.
I agree with that.
So would you consider that a good time to be on the market as a seller or as a buyer, or both?
I think the better time for a buyer is when the market or when the competition's less. So during the what I call the winter months, or the dull months is what I call them, actually, the doldrum months. During right now, right between Thanksgiving and the end of February is a better market for buyers as far as competition. You're not having as many multiple offers bidding up a price or making the competition fierce. But that being said, there's historically less homes on the market. A lot of sellers are a little weary of listing during the winter months because of the fact that there's usually less buyers in the market at that time.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the case there. I've read something, maybe it's in here. It says here that the medium listing price grew by 13% over last year. So from 21 to 22, the listing prices grew by 13%. That could be consistent with the first part of the year versus the last part of the year. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not either. Yeah, that's a confusing statistic a little bit.
Yeah. Check this one out. I didn't know this. More than 20% of home buyers were single females.
That's cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Saving for a down payment was most challenging part for first-time home buyers. Is just saving up enough money to do it.
Which is why that program that you're offering, the no money down, zero down or down payment assistance, actually is a really, really good program for first-time home buyers.
Yeah. So here's the one I was thinking about when we flipped over to this slide. Active inventory is 36% above last year's inventory at the same time. So that's a pretty fair chunk of inventory that's out there, which means that buyers have more choices. The thing I like about this particular pocket of time is that you've got a decent amount of inventory out there, and sellers are negotiating right now.
Yeah.
And the other part about that, the reason there's more inventory out there is because the houses aren't selling as fast as they did last year, or for the last 2 years, for that matter. So it's a good time to be out on the market. All right, I picked out I think this is the last page of these. In 2021, 28% of home buyers used a gift or loan from family member for their down payment. And gifts are, let me tell you, it amazes me how many people operate with gifts, but there are usually some family members that are willing to give somebody a leg up. And so that's a good thing to do. And if you haven't thought about it and that's what's holding you up from buying a house, it's worth asking. I mean, what's the worst that they could do? They can say no. A strong rebound is projected for housing in 2024 by, I guess, somebody. I project that housing in 2023, particularly after or during the second quarter and beyond, I think that rates are going to be lower, and I think that that's going to trigger a real substantial amount of people coming back into the market.
I hope so. I think from a couple of the last meetings that I've been to, there's a general consensus that the market is going to be probably about 30% less than what we've been the last couple of years as far as overall volume of sales. But I think still, like we talk about on our weekly show, inventory is still tight. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the competition is going to be less. It's just that this total in sales is going to be less.
What's interesting about this year is that business was flowing consistently through September, and then just hit the screeching wall right after that. And for some people that's different. I mean, there's still people out there buying houses. You prove that just by the stuff that you're doing, and Sandy too. But I thought this was one, it's kind of sad, is that 54% of renters don't believe they will ever be able to afford to buy a house. And again, that goes back to that first-time homebuyer program.
Yep.
If they can muster 10 grand, I mean, 10 grand seems to be what it takes to get this thing done as at a minimum, then you can buy something. And once you get in the game, once you have that first property, there's just and it's assuming that you have somebody smart and capable as your realtor, like Joe, that can guide you in a direction which allows you to buy a house that's going to appreciate, then, I mean, from there on out, you're home free. I mean, it's going to get better most of the time.
Knock on wood.
Well, and I'm one of those guys that I have bought a house and lost my shirt on it, but I've also bought a couple houses where I did quite well, and the discernment was what I was blinded by the light. I mean, I made a bad choice on a house, and anyway, so it happens, but just it'll get better. So here's another one. The median household income for a first-time home buyer was $86,500. That's a pretty decent income for a one person. If it's a dual income, those are two moderate incomes, and that's what's going on out there. That's what if you're anywhere sniffing in that arena, then you can buy yourself a pretty good house. So any of those surprise you at all?
I've always been a realtor that would suggest to any renters that I'm dealing with that as soon as they can to stop paying the landlord for the privilege of living in the landlord's house. Might as well. I know there's certain situations and necessities that arise that kind of force those people's hands into leasing homes and renting homes. But ultimately, if there are programs like the no money down that you're offering and some other programs out there that help first-time homebuyers, do that. That would be what I would say. And a lot of I think the 54% actually may be a little bit understated as far as the people that are renting that don't think they'll ever be able to afford a home, because there is that conception out there that it takes a lot of money on the front side to buy a house, to be able to have a lot of funds available. And does it take money to buy homes? Yeah, there are costs associated with it, down payments being one of them, but there are closing costs, etc. And it does help if there is a family member available to gift that money to you. I would say to anybody out there that has those means available to them, to get in touch with Mike first to understand what kind of the mechanics and the rules of that are, so that way you don't end up with a lot of money in your account and not being able to claim it for use of available funds until they mature. So there are some moving parts.
A little no-nos that you do along that way.
Yeah.
We don't put the money in the mattress. All right. So I also, this is in regards to the credit score tune-up. This is a preliminary step that you take prior to getting pre-qualified. And it may be that you have 700 FICO scores, but you want 740 FICO scores. It may be that you have 580 FICO scores and you want 650 FICO scores. Everything that we can do, what we do on this deal is you go here. This is kind of like raising your hand and say, look, I think I might need a credit tune-up before I buy. We're going to look at your credit. We run the credit. We make suggestions. We give you an analysis of what's out there. And then in about 99% of the time, we are able to increase your score with a suggestion. We don't charge a dime for it. We're just trying to help you. In some cases, it may help you pay down some debt. That's usually what it entails. But it's just understanding your credit a little bit better is worthy. And it's like Joe and I say all the time, knowing stuff is positive for you. The more you know, the more you're going to save, the more that you're going to benefit. So it's kind of an education on how credit scores work. So we are doing that for free. That's our version of the find out what your house is worth. We're going to find out what your credit score is, and if you're in that vicinity, because it takes a handful of things to trigger whether you're going to be pre-qualified or not. And again,
it's so important. It's absolutely important to know your position going into it. know what you can do to help yourself improve, because in a game of numbers that we play in real estate, especially in mortgage, trying to figure out what rate it goes along with your credit score and debt to income and all the things that might you work through, the more positive you can get, or the higher you can get your credit score, the better off you're going to be positioned to have interest rates that are beneficial for you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So anyway, this is one of the things that we're doing. It's kind of new, and should have been doing this all the time. Same thing, interested in getting pre-qualified. If you think you got your credit yet, I do want to go back. Let me go one more. I thought about this. If you are looking at your credit score through Experian or a couple of the other consumer credit reports, they are not the same as the credit scores that we use. If you're going to use one of those kind of apps, go to the MyFICO app. That seems to be the only one that models the same thing that we use to pull credit. And unfortunately, if you're using those consumer credit report things, they usually give you a higher credit score than what you really have in the MyFICO thing. So just be aware of that. They use the Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. All three of these sell a consumer version. They're all inconsistent with what we use to do the credit reports. This is the site that you'd want to go to, consistent with the others. The preliminary part is all the same, https://bit.ly/3i prequal. And this is if you want to go through and get a full pre-qualification. We are here to help you with that. Love to be the ones that represent you in the getting the loan for your new house. So other than that, rates today, I checked it. This is
keep going.
Well, they're consistent with they were last week. And again, this changed during the day. I looked at the rates earlier today. I think they may have gone lower towards the end of the day. And that seems to be a consistent thing that's happening as rates are come out and the bond traders are pretty nervous about the market. I think Jamie Dimon, the chairman and CEO of Chase, came out with some negative information that caused the bonds to drop a little bit, but they rallied. So these rates are probably from the early part of the day. And I think that you'd be pleased. And of course, this is why I use this number on that analysis that we did. 15-year rates, 5.75. Not many people talking about 15-year rates these days, but they're out there. So other than that, Joseph, I think we got through our presentation today. Not completely unscathed, but let's see. I'm still gonna try to
do it, man.
outro. Come on, outro. Be there. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Better Credit, Better Home. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you're looking for a great mortgage professional, reach out to Mike at KingwoodMortgageGuys.com. Or if you're looking for a home inspector or awesome realtor, reach out to Joe Salas with Byrd Properties International.
Don't go away, Joe.